Welcome everyone. It's time for our panel discussion on sustainability now. Sustainability can be defined as a socio-ecological process characterized by the pursuit of a common ideal. An ideal is by definition attainable in a given time and space. However, by persistently and dynamically approaching it, the process results in a sustainable system. Sustainable fashion, also called eco-fashion, is a part of the growing design philosophy and trend of sustainability, the goal of which is to create a system which can be supported indefinitely in terms of human impact on the environment and social responsibility. It can be seen as an alternative trend against fast fashion. It gives me a great pleasure to have our keynote speakers with us today. We are obliged to have these dignitaries amongst us today who are going to discuss about sustainability and will enhance our knowledge. The moderator in the panel discussion will be Mr. Stefano. Stefano, Italian-born American designer, spent most of his career in the denim and jeans world, working with international mills, brands, retailers, former design director at Levi Strauss in San Francisco, creative director at 7 for All Mankind and Hudson, co-founder of Tough Gong Clothing, and then running another design studio based on California. Currently operating as creative director at Arvind Limited. Please put your hands together for Mr. Stefano.
Hello, namaskar. Thank you very much for being here. I know this is a very delicate time slot. The only one that could be worse is the one right after lunch, but this is bad enough because I think a lot of you people will be thinking, oh, let's hope these guys hurry up because I really need to go and have something to eat. So we will try to be as fast as we possibly can, but of course, we don't want to rush through it because this is a very, very, very important subject that we're talking about. And when Sandeep and I were talking about what to do for this seminar, I told him about a presentation that I did a while ago at Arvind's strategy meeting a few months ago, and it was all about the dreams that I had about improving our industry and how technology is actually finally giving us the means to do it. And then as we were talking, we were saying, well, actually, it's great that many companies and many organizations are doing something about sustainability, but it's really something that we can only do very effectively when we work as a team. It has to be the whole supply chain that works together as a whole if we want to achieve the results that we need to achieve. And so we thought maybe we can invite some of our friends and partners in the industry and have a conversation together. And without being too formal or anything, each one of us is going to share some experience or some of the initiatives that we're doing individually. But like I said, the most important part is that we're all working together as a team if we want to achieve the results that we need to achieve. If we wait for our customers to come and ask us for sustainable products, I think we'll have time to retire and die and wait for another generation, because there's so many obstacles and so many hurdles, and the first thing that people say, oh, but is it going to cost more? Without thinking that if we don't do something about it, we're not going to have anything to really be concerned with in a few decades, because there won't be any clean water, there won't be any agriculture, there won't be anything left for us to worry about. So we really need to tackle this seriously. So like I said, we extended the invitation to some friends of ours and people that we work with all the time. I have with me today Abhishek. Abhishek is head of sustainability at Arvind Limited here in India, and is so good at his job that he was actually asked to join the ZDHC board of directors, and is now part of that as well. So Abhishek will be talking about initiatives that we are doing at Arvind. Then next on the panel is going to be Jordi Juani. Jordi is a representative of Genealogia, which is one of the most innovative technological companies out there, and I know there's a few, and there's another couple of good examples here at the show. I've known Gino Regia, and I've known Enrique for many, many years, and I appreciate the fact that they have a vision about what we need to do, and they have the ability to actually deliver a product that helps us. So thank you, Jordi, and Jordi will be sharing with us what Gino Regia is doing nowadays, and it's very exciting stuff. The next we have Marco Nova. Marco is with Camin Garmon. Garmon has been for decades one of the leaders in chemical products for the textile industry. And I know talking about chemicals, when you're talking about sustainability, sounds a bit like an odd choice. But actually, there is a way to make cleaner chemicals. There is a way to make chemicals that are much more effective, and they can actually help us minimize the impact that we have in our processes. So Marco is going to share with us what Garmon Camin now is doing in this area. And last but not least, our friend Jürg. Jürg is from Blue Sign in Switzerland, and he will tell us what Blue Sign is doing. And they are and they aren't part of the supply chain because they're not manufacturing anything. But their role, and it's really important, is to help customers, brands, retailers, and manufacturers navigate through the maze that is now the environmental aspect and what needs to be done. Because it can be a very daunting task. One can wake up one day and say, I want to do the right thing. From now on, I want to just use the right products. But there's so many regulations and rules and specifications that it can become a little bit of a nightmare. So Blue Sign is working throughout the industry with a lot of the leading brands and leading manufacturers to make sure that we're all on the same platform and we all do the right thing. So, like I said, we try to do 10 minutes each. I will go through my very short presentation, and then I'll pass the microphone to my colleagues. Again, thank you for your attention. Thanks. Perfect. That's a good start. Okay. So the title of the seminar is The Dawn of a New Era in Denim. And the reason why I call this is because we have been making denim for about 300 years, maybe more. And we have done an unbelievable amount of damage to the planet by doing that. And quite frankly, if denim did not exist and somebody decided to start producing it today, you could not even do it, because it is a nasty product. We all love it. We absolutely die by it. We live by it. But the damage that we've done to the environment is unforgivable. Now, the reason why I'm relatively optimistic now is because I can see that there are today available technologies that help us minimize what we've done, and they actually enable us to make a product that is, while still having environmental impact, is now much more friendly and much more manageable. So that's why I call it a new era in denim. And I introduced our colleagues already. So I'll talk about my dreams, and my dreams in this case are blue, like the product that we make. And the first dream that I have is that one day we'll be able to dye indigo without using any water. And as you obviously you're very familiar with the issue of water shortages around the planet, and it's becoming an increasingly worrying problem for the planet. And in denim manufacturing, we use a lot of water. We use a lot of it when we're growing cotton. We use a lot of it when we dye it. We use a lot of it when we do the garment processing in the laundries. And what we never really think about is we use tons of water when we wash our garments throughout the life of the garment. So we should tackle each one of these components individually. The zero water dyeing was kind of an impossible dream up to a short while ago, because you need to have the water for the traditional dyeing methods. Now there are new technologies that are available that are going to help us minimize the amount of water, reduce it by maybe 90%, which is something that is unbelievable. And I'm really glad that at Arvind we're going to pioneer this new technology. If this proves to be effective, I think it's going to absolutely change the way we produce indigo for the next generations. The next dream that I have is zero water garment processing. And like I was saying, the whole laundry industry has been using millions and millions and millions of gallons of water to take a perfectly new pair of jeans and make them look like they're 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, which is nonsense if you think about it, but that's what fashion dictates. And so that's what we've been doing for generations. Today, we finally have the way to minimize the waste of water. We're going to still use some of it, but it's going to be a minimal amount compared to what we've been doing so far. And this is coming from two sides of the process. One is the technology, the machinery. So people are now making machines that are far more effective. They use much smaller amounts of water. And we're actually avoiding some of the processes that we've been doing. We have new technologies like lasers, ozones, and other technologies that Jordi is going to talk about that almost eliminate the need of water. And we also have chemical products that also help minimize and make the whole process far more efficient and far more effective. So that's happening. The zero water home care is something that we're not really going to talk about that much today, but it's something that eventually we're going to be able to also tackle. There are technologies, again, coming from mostly from the chemical side, which will help us reduce the number of times that we need to wash our garments. So if you apply these technologies to your garments, then you won't really need to wash them at all, if any. The last one, and this is such a big subject that we're not even going to tackle it today, but it's one that is going to affect us, is already affecting us, but it's going to hit us very, very hardly very soon, is the amount of microfibers, plastic microfibers that we're releasing in the ocean. And I think if you read on the papers, the amount of plastic that is in the ocean today is reaching levels that are incredibly worrying, and it's affecting the marine life, of course. But as it goes into the system, it affects humans as well. So I know we're all talking about recycling plastic and all the stuff, and these are all steps in the right direction. But remember, every time we wash a garment that has synthetic fibers, we're releasing microfibers into the ocean. Every time we recycle plastic, we're releasing microfiber into the ocean. Every time we process it, we're releasing plastic. So this is something that is going to be probably the subject of another meeting, but it's something we need to keep in mind. Without being negative, the good part of all this is that technology now is available and is finally going to help us solve and tackle some of these problems. So thank you. I'll pass the microphone to my colleague Abhishek, and then we'll have at the end a little question and answer session. If you are patient enough and you don't have to rush to lunch. Anyway.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Stefano, for introduction and for making a presentation that helps us to think to where we have come and what is the path forward for the industry. I'm Abhishek Bansal. I lead sustainability efforts at Arvind, and I'm also member of the board at ZDHC, Zero Discharge for Hazardous Chemicals. And the topic that I've chosen today is of circular economy, and that fits, I think, very well with the theme of dawn of the new era. So We have lived so far in our lives in an era of linear economy, where we mine the natural resources, use resources, some of them goes waste, and then we mine again the new resources. But now the biggest topic that would of course need a lot of technology intervention, which are some of them are already there, is to see how we can stop exploiting the new resources, making new natural or synthetic resources, and instead close in the loop where we use the materials again and again. And some of the problems that we see associated with, for example, things like plastic, that are very, very easily addressable if we recycle these, because plastic by nature is non-biodegradable. So that means it doesn't degrade. And that makes it a perfect candidate for recycling, because you can recycle it as many number of times. The only problem we have is with the collection system and the appropriate technologies to recycle it back to the original products. So with this, I would like to start my presentation. On the left, we see the linear economy, more or less the era that we live in right now, where we use the resources, do the production, consumption, and then there's a waste generation in the end. So all of us, like some of us as manufacturers, retailers, all of us, we make products and sell those products, and that is the idea, to make jeans or denim products and to sell it. And never it is the idea to sell the natural resources, but unintentionally what we do is we also sell a lot of water, we sell a lot of energy, which is embedded in these products when we make these products. And we are essentially exporting these resources even to the countries outside, and also within India we are selling it. And the whole idea of circular economy is to take each of the raw material that we use for production and make a closed loop system out of it, where we do the 100% recycling to bring the products back to the original form. So idea is to transition from linear economy to circular economy, and it is quite different from recycling that we see right now. Because if you see the recycling that we see right now is more the red loop and the blue loop, smaller ones that you see, where we we generate waste during production and we recycle some of it. And then during consumption also at homes we reuse certain amount of garments or any kind of reuse that is possible. But largely it goes up to the landfill in the end. The idea is to have another green loop which brings back the products to its original form, so that we don't need to exploit fresh resources again and again. This is where the world is now transitioning to and talking about, and there are multiple technology providers who are addressing different solutions. Some of the solutions we have adopted at Arvind, and I just wanted to highlight a few of those today. First of all, start about the most important subject, that is water, being such a huge population in the country and not enough fresh water. So we can no longer afford to use fresh water in the industry, and we are already, various cities in the world and in India are soon coming close to the zero water day, where the economists, the researchers, the environmentalists, they have predicted that we'll be left with no fresh water to use. So taking that as a broad working area, we at Arvind, we have started the initiative on circularity of water, where elimination of water is one thing, which Stefano talked about, and that's of course a longer term objective, where we have already starting working on technologies which don't use water. But in the meantime, we don't have enough time to still use that water till the time we achieve that status. So the objective here is to reuse 100% of the water and not to use any fresh water. So in that goal, we have already reached 70%, where across the organization, we are reusing 70% of the water back in the same production process. So traditionally, what recycling has used to be in the industry of water is that you use water, treat it, and you use it for stuff like gardening or for toilet flushing, which is, I would say, is a traditional recycling. But what we are talking about right now is the circular, where we use the water in the process, treat it, and use it back again in the process and not for the secondary use, so that we can avoid drawing the fresh water. So 70% is somewhere we have already reached, and our target is to reach 85% within next 2 years, for which we have started again implementing one large project. Then waste to energy or renewable energy. So currently more than 30% of our energy requirements are being derived from renewable energy and waste to energy, which is largely agro waste or agro-industrial waste. So again, a renewable form of energy so that you don't need to exploit natural resources anymore. Then again, the largest waste that our industry generates, not at the manufacturing stage, but at the use stage, is the waste in terms of clothes. It's not such a huge challenge in India right now because we have a traditional system of recycling where we give away our old clothes and there's still some use of it. But in Europe and in the US, most of the textile ends up in the landfill. So we started this closed loop recycling for used garments where we collect used denims and we crush it and mix it with the fresh cotton to make post-consumer waste recycled denim. We have some pictures to that from our production process. And then last but not the least is a zero discharge for hazardous chemicals, the DHC. So how do we eliminate the use of hazardous chemicals? So that we have already done for our denim production. We no longer we follow the ZDHC manufacturing restricted substance list and the detox commitments. We also recover salt. So in one of our water treatment plants, where all the reactive dyeing is happening by using salt as a medium, we recover 1,500 tons of salt, dissolved salt from the water, and use it back in the dyeing process. So even for such things, a closed loop process can be established. We've even experimented with some of dyes where the recovery can be done from the effluent of the dyes itself. So this is the broad theme. In interest of time, will not go in much detail, but just highlight, we have one of the largest zero liquid discharge plants in India, where we reuse 20 million liter of water per day. So it is 20,000 meter cube of recycling capacity of this power plant. And right here in Bangalore, we have our denim laundry at Mysore Road. So 100% of the water that we use there is coming from the wastewater. So there is a community waste plant where all the waste coming from our homes is treated by municipality. And we take water from there, treat it further to make it suitable for process, and use it in the denim washing process, so that no fresh water is utilized for the process usage. And that's when we have we consider that we have closed the loop and not for the secondary usages. Even the new facilities, the picture that you see is one we have started in Ethiopia, where 100% of the water is recycled. It is a zero liquid discharge facility out there. So next, moving on to renewable energy. So again, the idea here is to minimize new mining of natural resources to use as much as renewable. In the textile mill side, we have replaced 50% of the coal by usage of biomass. In the Bangalore, in the garmenting, in the laundry, we have replaced 100% of the coal with the biomass briquettes. And we are building one of the largest solar rooftop plants in India. So we are building 24 megawatt spread across all our facilities. And our largest facility in Ahmedabad is going to have 16 megawatt. That will be the single largest solar plant at a single location on the rooftops. So overall, we are meeting 30% of the needs from renewables. And this is the last one, closing the loop on the post-consumer waste. So the discarded denims that we reuse, this is that project where we are using up to 20% of the fiber. We are now, for the new developments, we are going as high as 30% of the recycled denims. And we also use, of course, recycled polyester from PET bottles, but there also we are working on technologies where we would be able to extract the used polyester from the garment itself in order to completely close the loop. So this is the picture from our mill. This is the blow room of a spinning mill. And there you see we place, the blue one is the crushed denim. So it's very similar to how we shred the paper. So we take the used denim, shred it, and mix it with the virgin cotton in the proportion. And this is how then it moves through the process. And this is finally the yarn, it comes out. It has a natural blue tinge. We are even making the products from it, which doesn't have any dye. And these are the eco products, which only use the natural color coming from the used denims. So this is the yarn made with 20% recycled content. And I think the innovation, there is the space for innovation, how to take this 20% to 30, 40, and gradually to 100%. But we are very hopeful that this can be done because cotton again is a cellulose and is also recyclable. The idea is to how to bring it to the desired level, the recycled fiber, so that it can be used again with the same strength and feel. So this was briefly about what we are trying to do, and we'd love to hear some of the questions and comments at the end. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, good morning. Sorry, let me check if... No. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Jordi Juani from Genealogia, and I will try to explain a little bit which are our views about manufacturing in a sustainable way. Let me first, just a few days back, a friend of mine shared with me a video that inspired me a little bit about this, and I would like to share also with you so that you can just think a little bit.
Tyler?
Yeah?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What are you going to be when you grow up?
A doctor.
And Sophia? What about you?
A fireman.
A fireman?
I'll be a nurse. I would like to be in the water business to make lots of money. Lots and lots and lots of money. I will sell oxygen masks. I would like to sell some medicine. I'd like to research new types of cancer. I want to be a soldier because I need to defend the country from other people trying to get in.
I want to study storms.
Fires, drought,
Pollution.
viruses. I'd like to be an astronaut so I can get out of this place.
So I think that this is heartbreaking because I don't know if this is the world we want for our children, and we have in our hands to make it differently. So when we are in when I'm visiting some of our customers around the world, I always get a similar reply when I am saying, okay, let's change the way of doing the things. Is this one? My customer doesn't ask for sustainable jeans. Yes, it's true, but if you put to someone to choose between a fashion jean or a sustainable jean, everybody will always ask for a fashion jean. We are in fashion business, so this is clear. But it means that they want this. It means that our consumer, what they want is to have this. I don't think so. Because sustainable jeans is not a category. Sustainable jeans is a way of doing the jeans. We have not to talk about sustainable jeans, but jeans made in a sustainable way. You are not asking to your customers if they want some jeans made with child labor or jeans that they are creating cancer to the people. I think that we are not asking this to the people, so then we are not asking if they want to wear a jean that is destroying the planet. that's the reason sustainability is not a category of jeans. Sustainability is something that should be inbuilt in the way of doing the jeans. One of the problems is that in many cases, we, from the industry, we are saying, okay, sustainable jeans or sustainable products are more expensive. Do you think that sustainability should be more expensive? If something is more expensive, it will not go to the market. And if it is not going to the market, it will not be sustainable. So any solution that is increasing the cost will never be adopted by the market. So what's the sense to doing that? The main problem is this one. I think that as industry, we had been in a very relaxed and comfortable situation where business was moving and we were happy. And we were not considering what our industry was doing into the world. So the key to me is that we have to move. We have to stand up and start thinking and doing the things in a different way. And really, it's possible, and this will lead our industry into a change. The point is how we have to do. Anybody of you know, I guess, the rule of the 3F. The 3F are the key to make a good pair of jeans. It means fabric, fit, and finishing, okay? From our side, we are working especially with two parameters related to sustainability that are fabric and finishing. And the point is how we can work in these two parameters in order to improve the way of doing the things. When we talk about fabric, fabric basically, making very simple, fabric is a combination of two things. The technical features, it means how this will perform in the use, and the transforming capability. It means how I can get from a fabric a nice product to wear. So if we work with the right fabrics, what we can call engineered fabrics, it's proven that we are getting huge advantages in terms of quality and in terms of reduction of the process time in the laundry. The other aspect, that is how to finish that jean, basically also we can define as a combination of the use of water, chemical, and technology that is making from a raw jean into a finished jean. So when we use less resources, we are not having discharge, and we reduce the process time, what we are getting is higher quality, higher efficiency, and higher speed to market. So it means that although we have to invest more to make the jeans, at the end of the process, we are getting jeans that are neutral in cost. And we can get jeans that nowadays, they are already in the market, and it's possible to do where we can create what we call the jeans 5.0. It means jeans where we are eliminating the PP spray, we are eliminating stone, bleach, the water discharge by the use of the right technology, the right chemicals, and the right know-how to do the things. Let's say as an objective in our company, we have a clear mindset, and what we want to achieve is that by 2025, we can talk about the jeans industry where we are not using water. We can transform a jean without the use of water, without the discharge of water, and this will be really important for our industry and especially for the world. How we do this? Let's say with a combination, as we said before, of engineered fabrics, engineered chemicals, getting digital receipts to transform the jeans into by a sustainable process to get the right fashion and without damaging our planet. So I guess that now when some of you that probably you got the same answer about sustainability, they are asking you that your customers are not asking for sustainable jeans. I get that now you have some more ideas, and it can be you can give the right answer to the other person. And just to end, another video again that it's also, to me, inspired quite a lot, and it's driving me to work. Again, it's from Greenpeace, that they are doing a great job on this field, and I want to share with you. Let's work together to this, and just following Stefano's dreams. My dream is to make sometime a conference where we don't need to talk about sustainability, because this is already our normal behavior. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marco Nava. I'm Sales Director at Garmon Chemic Textile. And my presentation, surprisingly enough, will be about sustainability and how we can design our denim washing for the future. Of course, as Stefano mentioned, when we're talking about sustainability, the first thing that goes under scrutiny are chemicals, and for a good reason. And we will talk about how we can replace obnoxious chemical in our industry. But we will also have a look at water and energy, other two factors which are very important in our industry, and we will exactly start it from that. We have here a very interesting research from Levi's, in which has been calculated that during the life cycle of a pair of jeans, 3,781 liters of water are used. This water is for 68% done by growing cotton, so in agriculture. 23% is used by the consumer, so in a daily laundering over jeans. 7% is the water used for jeans processing, and 2% for packaging and other operation. So apparently the water used in jeans processing is just 7%, but if you calculate 7% on these liters, 3,000 and plus liters for a single pair of jeans, and you multiply for the billions of number of jeans you have in the world, you can understand that water usage in our industry has to be addressed. As far as energy is concerned, we can see that every pair of jeans during his life cycle emit 33.4 kilograms of CO2. And in this case, 37% is due to washing and drying of jeans by the consumer. 45% is due to the jeans processing, so it's highly energy consuming. 11% transportation and logistic. Only 9% for the agriculture in growing cotton, and 8% to other operation. So definitely these are numbers that we have to address. And of course, not only water and energy, we have to combine better chemistry and better technology. Better chemistry to eliminate obnoxious products like pumice-stone, potassium permanganate, chlorine, to reduce as much as possible water usage by combining different steps in one single bath, and through new technology we will see, Energy saving, of course, we have to go and reduce the temperature in jeans processing as much as possible, and combining with better technology that will help us to eliminate pumice stone. We reduce the consumption of chemical, and of course only the good chemical have to be used. New technology, of course, will bring also very great water saving and energy saving, of course. So only by combining better chemistry and better technology, we will have the best sustainable washing of jeans. And what does that mean? We'll be using chemicals which are certified. So certified means being the best, the safest for the workers, first of all, for the environment, and for the end user. We will use processes like nebulization or single bath processes that reduce to a minimum the use of water per pair of jeans. We will try to do everything at room temperature so that we don't have to heat up water anymore, and definitely use the most dangerous products in the industry: pumice stone, potassium permanganate, and chlorine. Very briefly, without being too commercial, a few products that Garmon is offering: a single multifunctional enzyme to replace a pumice stone in washing, an oxidizer that gives localized bleaching and replace potassium permanganate, and a bleacher that can really fade down jeans to a great extent without the use of chlorine. And of course, all of these products must be certified. We must have a third party that certifies the complete safety of this product. As far as technology is concerned, Garmon strongly believes that the nebulization process will be the future of our industry. And we at Garmon call it Nimbus. With Nimbus, of course, you have a perfectly optimized consumption of chemical. You can achieve whatever kind of effect you want, so multiple fashion effect. You reduce tremendously the use of water, and you have a very significant savings also on energy. Instead of many words, very briefly, I will compare now a traditional washing process, like in this case, with a sustainable one. So, as you can see, a standard washing process in which pumice stone, potassium permanganate, and chlorine have been used, usually involve to have a stone bleach effect, a desizing process, pumice stone wash, destoning and manual operation, bleaching, local spray of PP, and finally softening. At the end, washing time is around 150 minutes, 67 liters per garment, 1.66 kilowatt of energy used per garment, and 18 steps of washing. Like my friend Jordi teach me, if we use a measurable system to quantify what we have done here, we can see that the EIM score here is at 69, totally unacceptable. By modifying the process and using sustainable product and techniques, we can definitely reduce the washing time to 99 minutes. We can use only 26 liters of water per garment, 0.98 kilowatt, reducing the step down to 10, and achieving an EIM score of 28. At the end, we will have saved 61% of water, 40% of the energy, absolutely no use of pumice stone, potassium permanganate, or chlorine, while achieving exactly the same look, and of course, only certified chemical which has been used. So, it was a very short presentation. If you want to go to the detail, we can meet in our stand in A29, and I thank you very much.
Hello. Namaste. I think my friends said already everything. I think we could go for lunch. Joke. Let's continue working a bit. I'm sure you are asking, what is Blue Sign doing with Levi's? Or Levi's has to do with Blue Sign. We are working very, very close together. Brands, fashion brands. There are a lot of fashion brands which very much take care about sustainability. And what we are doing with Levi's is working together on chemical verification. We have done pilots, and we found out, and we have to create tools. We have the tools available and focus on chemistry. It's the right one, right? So don't get confused with this slide. I can share this slide with you. Better study it at home. But that's the reality. And that includes everything what my friend said. From the chemical supplier's view, down to the manufacturer, and up to the brand. These are the 3 family members we are working with, but everything starts with the right chemistry. That's exactly the same slide, easier, that I do understand. We start with the chemical suppliers, and that's an input stream management. BlueSign is a consultancy company, actually. We are a solution provider, and we sell a system to the chemical supplier, manufacturer, and brands. It's not that easy, but actually it's an easy button. If everything goes through well, then it's done at the end. BlueSign is also working with the pyramid. We have underneath risk assessment, eco-labels, test matrix. Manufacturers are working with RSLs and MRSLs, and not only one, several. And then comes BlueSign with their own BlueSign restricted substance list. But we think we are the stringent ones. We are dealing with 900 different restricted substances. And on top level would be the BlueSign input stream management, which is implementing that system. We have 10 family members already here in India which climbed that mountain. It's not easy to climb that mountain. It's work behind and a lot of training. But we have manufactured textiles, and majority are chemical suppliers which climbed that mountain. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank our grandfather of denim, Dr. P.R. Roy, and his team. We started in 2015, and without the help of them, BlueSign couldn't start that properly. Thank you. Sure.
First of all, I would like to really thank my friends here. They definitely came through. They delivered a very simple, very clear message that I think we all understood. You can tell there is real passion behind this. And we really want to do the right thing, not because the market is demanding it right now, but because we think it is our duty to do it. There's a saying that I always remember from the Native Americans, the ones that they call the other Indians by historical mistake. And the saying was, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We basically safeguarding it for the next generations. And that's a really powerful statement that we should always remember. We think that we can do whatever we want with this planet. We don't really think about the footprint that we live in and what we do into the environment for the future generations. And we've done enough to damage it. We can see it in the weather. We can see it in the water. We can see it everywhere we look. And still there are people who are refusing to look at it. I think India, with its amazing rate of growth, with the fact that it's a relatively young player in the denim field, has a phenomenal opportunity to really become a leader in this area. And I'm really glad to see that a lot of people are participating, and they are actually willing to implement new processes, new technologies. I'm sick and tired of people who self-declare themselves the most sustainable brand on the planet, the most sustainable jeans on the planet, the most sustainable denim. If you go to any show nowadays, all you see is people blasting how great they are and how green they are. Well, the reality is if they were that great, we wouldn't have all the problems that we have. The reality is that unfortunately a lot of that is greenwashing, and we need to stop that. We need to, like Jordi said, we need to stop talking about sustainability and we need to actually start doing something. There is no sustainable talk unless there is traceability, and this is a major issue in our industry. And there's absolutely no sustainable talk if we cannot be transparent. If people talk about what they're doing, don't just take their word for it. Just go and look at the numbers. We publish our report every year. All these companies are certified. And our doors are open. Anybody has questions about specific issues, please don't hesitate to ask them. If people are serious about what they're doing, they will give you all the information you want. If they're just claiming to do something and then they say, oh yeah, but we do this and we do this, don't take their word for it. Please ask, because it's really, really vital. So we actually did very well time-wise too. I'm very thankful that we managed to stay within our time limit. So we have a few minutes for questions and answers. I would definitely invite you to ask whatever questions you have. We'll be happy to answer. If we run out of time or if you're desperate for lunch, we can wrap it up in a few minutes. And then we're all here all day, so you feel free to stop us and talk to us individually. But please, if there are questions, go ahead and shoot.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
So we gave the message. Is it yours? Yours.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. So thanks all of you for your presentation. I'm Andrea Venier from Officina Plus 39, and I have mainly one question, or I would like to know your comments about this. We are talking about sustainability, and there are some assessments that are telling us that one of the big problems in our world, in our markets, is the overproduction of garments. Really, I think this is we are never talking about that during the seminars, but really I think this is the first point that we should take in consideration to have a better approach to our industry. How you can see this issue, and which is your idea, how we can improve this in the industry? To have better production means the right production for the needs of the markets. Thank you.
Well, thank you first of all, for being the first one to break the ice. I know it's always difficult to ask questions when you're there. There's nothing to be shy about. Just ask. Asking questions is the best thing you can do. And at worst, we can give you a bad answer, but asking is always the right thing to do. Your point is great, actually, because, and I think it was mentioned briefly earlier, not so much here in India right now, but I think it will become a problem here as well. About 80% of everything that we make in our textile and garment operation ends up in a landfill. And that is criminal from so many aspects that we cannot even talk about it. And that's part of a huge problem that we have as a society, where consumerism is driving everything that we do. So we need to really do a lot of work, all of us. We have to start re-educating people. I think we've done, as an industry, a phenomenal job at diseducating customers over the years and telling them that it's okay to waste, that it's okay to buy more and more and more, and it's okay to accept the fact that a pair of jeans can cost as much as a cup of cappuccino from Starbucks. To me, it's absolutely mind-blowing, and that's probably the biggest problem that we have that is causing what you are talking about. The fact that our industry is probably the only one where prices are today lower than they were 10 or 20 years ago. You try and go buy a car today for less than what you paid 20 years ago, it's impossible. Go buy a house, it's impossible. Go buy a telephone, it's impossible. Go buy a cup of coffee, it's not even a joke. But when we go to a store and we go buy a pair of jeans or a t-shirt or a jacket, we get so mad if it's costing 50 cents more or $1 more than last year, and we say, oh, this is it's not going to work. I could go to the store next door, and I can buy it for less, or even better, I wait 2 weeks, and all these guys are going to be on sale, so I can buy it even cheaper. And so we keep perpetuating this vicious cycle of producing, and pardon the word, crap, and people are still buying it because it's cheap. And then once they bought it, they realize that it's actually not going to last. It's going to last 2, 3 months, 6 months at best, and they throw it out, and then they go and buy another one. And I do understand that we're all in the business of making things, and of course, yes. If we were not hypocrites, we should say we should all stop doing whatever we're doing. We don't need to make one more pair of jeans because there's enough on the planet, and so be it, and stop and go home and do something else. It's not going to happen. So let's be realistic. But we need to start making it in the proper way. So one thing that we need to do absolutely is to start looking at the better way of doing things and reduce our carbon footprint. And the other thing that we all have to do collectively is to start re-educating people and put out products that are better. And trust me, maybe the first season is not going to work great. People will still go for the cheaper option. The next season, maybe they will try something a little better. By the third time they buy something that is better, they will say, oh, actually, I spent more money for that garment, but I actually saved money because I can wear it for longer. I look better, the quality is better, and I know that I haven't really done a lot of damage. I don't know if my colleagues here want to add anything.
Yeah, totally agree. Of course, I will also to add and see Andrea's question from a different point of view or a different angle. And Andrea was talking about overproduction. I would say that in some countries we have overcapacity. And overcapacity, of course, is driving tough competition. So we have demand for lower prices, overcapacity, and people, of course, trying to reduce as much as possible the cost of production. And sometimes, if not often, this goes against what we were talking today. So trying to have shortcuts in which I reduce my cost, and so I use not the best machine, not the best chemical, not the best that our industry offers. And of course, this ends up in a landfill and polluted all of our planet.
Thanks. Great point. More questions, please? Yes, we have a gentleman here.
Hi, everyone. My question is it's about the consumer level washing. Okay, once we buy a pair of jeans, how often should we wash our denims? There is always a misconception being a consumer. Okay, like we wash our denims probably after we use it for once or 4 times. Somebody says like Levi CEO and President Chipberg once said, "You never wash your denim." Is that really true that we should never wash our denims? Like, what is the concept behind these denims actually? Because when I heard you're so concerned about the nature and in terms of using recycled water for the production, I'm really happy to know that. And when it comes to the consumer level, none of the brands are also educating the consumers how often they should wash their denims. If you can put some more light on this, I'll be happy to know that.
Oh, wonderful question, thank you. And there's no easy answer, actually, because it really varies. There are some lunatics in our industry, and I'm probably one of them, who think that denim should be raw and you should wash it as little as possible to maintain a certain look and let it age naturally. And then there are people who will buy their jeans, wear them once, throw them in the washer, and then wear them again, and so on. The ideal situation to me is just wash them when they're really dirty and when you see that people don't want to stay too close to you. But really, it should be common sense. It doesn't. Why would you need to wash something that you wore one time? I know eventually one of my dreams is to actually have the jeans that you don't need to wash ever, because they will have features where they will repel the dirt from the outside and they will actually reduce the amount of bacteria on the inside, so there will not be any odor. But 5, 6 times, 10 times, like I said, when you see the people walking away from you, it's probably time to wash them.
I would also add that it's a little bit of a cultural issue. Of course, you live in US, and US is, people horrify if you don't wash your jeans every time you use it. But really, it's not underwear, my God. You can wear it 4, 5, 6 times before washing it, my God. And then we see that the biggest water consumption is from the domestic laundering of jeans.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Yep. 2 contenders.
Yeah, hi all. My question is basically, as Marco said, and we all agree, there is overcapacity in the denim production as a fabric. And sustainability, of course, is definitely being coming as a cost. So will the brands are going to absorb, or it will be ultimately loaded to the end consumer, or partially being loaded to the fabric manufacturer? Because of for a single pie, the cost of the difference, the business is, taking the another way, compromising sustainability.
Absolutely. And there's 2 parts to your question. One is about the overcapacity, and one is about the cost of sustainability, right? I think we can all speak to both. I will make just one quick comment, because I don't want to monopolize. I want my colleagues to have their say too. But the overcapacity issue is a real one. In this country, I think it's a temporary situation, because if you have a country that is growing at the rate of India, where it's probably one of the few parts in the world where consumption is actually growing, where people actually want to buy more jeans, where the average person owns 0.4 pairs of jeans, as opposed to the 7+ that people in the US own. I think it's something that is like a temporary gap. Because by the time each person in India wants to buy a pair of jeans, we won't have enough fabric in this country to supply enough to satisfy that demand. So I think it's more of a timing issue. The other one is a very, very good point. People will always say, oh, I would like to do it, but it costs more. Well, there's 2 answers there. One is that you have to do it because you are convinced that it's the right thing to do. When the owner of Patagonia, Mr. Chouinard, decided to switch all of his production to organic cotton and recycled, he didn't think about the cost. He went to do, I did the same tour. He went to do a tour, and he visited organic farms, and he visited conventional farms. And I'm not saying that organic is the only way to go, but I'll just give you one example. When he came back from that tour, he was so touched that he says, we all do things that are bad, but we don't necessarily know that we're doing bad things. But the moment you're aware of that, and you know the damage that you're causing, and you carry on doing it, then you are a criminal. Then there's no justification. So he came back, he gathered all of his suppliers, and he said, I thank you very much for all your work, and this is what I want to do. From now on, everything that we make as a company is going to be done in a different way. It's going to be environmentally conscious. So I want to work with you guys, and we need to go down this path. Some of you may decide they don't want to participate. Some of you will, and I will support you. Their prices went up. Their sales went down for a little while, but then they recovered, and the company has done phenomenally well. When they posted an ad a couple of years ago, a full-page ad, stating all the reasons why you should not buy this jacket, you should not buy it. It was not a commercial ad. All the good reasons why you should not buy it, their sales went through the roof. So sometimes we kid in ourselves and we say, oh, we're so scared to increase our prices a little bit. Customers will not understand it. Well, they will. And the other side to it, and I'll let them talk too, is that in the long run, making things in an environmentally conscious way is actually cheaper. Because once you start recycling your resources, once you start using less water, using less energy, and streamlining your processes, you actually save money at the end of the day. Now, I know that this requires pretty strong investments at the beginning if you're not already doing it. So there is a cost element. I'm not trying to fool anybody. You need to invest if you want to do it the right way. But eventually, it's going to end up being cheaper and obviously better for the environment. I don't know if you guys want to add.
Yep. Just wanted to add a couple of points. One is, I think there seems to be cost on being sustainable, and there is a cost because we and many of the countries have not priced the natural resources appropriately. So if you see, water is practically free for the industries in many, many regions. While wherever government has tried to price water, so in Karnataka or in Tamil Nadu, where water price for industry is very high, you will see industry has automatically moved to recycling water because recycling the water is cheaper than buying new water from the government. So there's huge amount of work needs to be done in pricing the natural resources according to their values that should be, which will drive things sustainably. And then it should be more of a global movement because as I understand, if only one supplier is increasing the price, they will of course run out of the business. So the consumers and the brands need to create race to the top rather than race to the bottom by finding cheaper price every season or lower price every season. We need to drive higher sustainability every season, which will also create race to the bottom, race to the top, and lift the entire industry. So that cost increases if it does for the entire industry, and then gets passed on to the consumer.
I would like just to ask you one question. What are you selling?
My point was mainly for like whatever you invest as a part of a sustainability, it's not only one person, like it's a whole starting from the manufacturer to the brand to the consumer. It's a whole cycle.
Here the matter is that as an industry, I think that we don't have so clear what we are selling. What we are selling is our know-how to convert a raw material into a wearable fashion apparel. This know-how, till now, we have applied only into make the product fashionable, good-looking, and we never considered how we have been, or how we have to convert it. I think that this is the key. To make the things in a sustainable way is not more expensive. If it is more expensive, it's that you are not applying the know-how in the right way. If we design the product in the right way from the beginning, we will achieve the same product, the same fashion, but made in a way that we are not harming the planet. This is the key. And sometimes what we are as an industry, we are in a relaxed, sitting down in a relaxed in a relaxed sofa, and then we say, okay, sustainable means that now I need just buying one more chemical that is sustainable and buying one more machine so that my customer feels I am sustainable. No, it's really to take your know-how, that is what your customers are paying for, and apply this know-how in designing the products in a different way. And then it will not be more expensive.
Okay, thank you.
No. Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah. I totally agree with Jordi. If you invest in the right technology and you use the right chemicals, and most of all, as he said, you design from the beginning in a new way, washing in a sustainable way, it's not more expensive. Absolutely not. That's it.
You may allow me to say something. Dr. Roy, 30 years ago, we started already discussing about resource savings, energy savings, water consumption. I miss a bit the discussion, my friends, from manufacturing, machinery, chemicals, and we produce nothing, but we have our specialist and experience because we are coming from the industry. The right chemistry, less water consumption, means less steam consumption, less wastewater, right? And you can buy today dyes, which a kilogram costs double, but at the end of the process you reduce your cost by 30%. And this is, I appreciate, it's the first friend I have here with Stefano, which talks through the whole line. Only we, machinery industry, chemical suppliers, manufacturers, and with some experience, we from consultancy can push that forward. But resource savings, that's not easy. And it's fashion, it's fancy, it's very nice to talk about water savings. But what is behind? We all have to help, actually, the industry. Right?
Thank you. Absolutely. And my fault, maybe we should have had a representative from a brand here as well to hear their perspective, but there's plenty of you guys here, so feel free to ask. There was a gentleman in the back who had a question too.
Hi, my name is Avinash. I'm a designer. So for the whole concept, do you think there is a contribution from the designer or a creator for the next step to sustainability? And is there a requirement for educating them in a certain way, or telling them there is a different way of getting the results?
Well, I would like to say 1,000% right, and it doesn't make any sense. You're 100% right. It all starts there. And if it's really up to us, designers, merchandisers, even salespeople, we really need to start thinking differently. We have to start designing the product from the very origin, from the moment we have a concept of a new product. We have to start thinking in a different way. And sustainability, like I said, it's not something that we do because we want to feel good about it or because we want to have one product that we say, this is sustainable and great. It is a state of mind. We need to start thinking that there are many different ways of doing things, and we should consciously decide to go with the one that is the least harmful path. It's really an easy choice. And I know we have pressure, and sometimes people say, no, we have to make it in a different way. You have to do the heavy potassium spray because people like that. No, you don't have to. If you as a designer make a product that doesn't have that particular look, that has something that is different, alternative, could be better, could be, maybe some people won't like it, but there are going to be people who like it. And then if we all start doing it, then it's really easy to change it. Really easy. If we stop showing things like that, people will not find them. They will not buy them. Within 3 seasons, we can get rid of the whole potassium look. Now there are like Band-Aid solutions now. We can have other chemicals that will give a similar look. But if you start designing your product from the very beginning with a different state of mind, then you can actually have a huge impact on the final product.
Yeah, and there are also ready-made tools available, like Sustainable Apparel Coalition. They have made 2 tools, Material Sustainability Index and Design and Development Module, which help you to choose the right material, because 80% of the sustainability gets logged in the moment you design the product, because after that you don't have great flexibility to choose a different material or even at times to choose a different process. So absolutely, that's a great design need in terms of education on sustainability. So I think all the schools and universities, I know many in Europe, they have started courses teaching designers on sustainability, but it should happen more uniformly across the globe.
To me, this is the, as they said, this is the key point, the designing. But designing requires more integration from different areas. When you have to do a design, in many cases, the sourcing person from your company is coming with one particular fabric saying to you, I want this look. But this fabric cannot get this look although you use so many water, temperatures, chemicals. So if from the very beginning we achieve that the companies are integrating the designing not only in terms of look, but in terms of process, and what I was saying before about the know-how, how we integrate in a company to understand what I need to achieve and what is the process. The two things they have to be together, is the product and how the product has to be made. With this is when we integrate the entire chain, and we can achieve the reduction of cost, time, and impact on the environment.
I just want to add that talking about education for the designer, shows like Denim Jeans are the perfect place where you can get the best idea from a producer, from machinery, from chemicals, from certification bodies and people that knows about the industry. So this is definitely the best place where designer can learn.
I have nothing to say in fashion.
No,
I'm a farmer. I'm a farmer.
Thanks. More questions? Shall we release you and let you go? Oh, there's one there. Sorry. Microphone.
I just want to understand, is there any international certification bodies which are certifying sustainable denim? For example, for cotton, we have BCI, we have organic. Of course, denim also falls under organic, but there's a lot of processes like washing and all involved. So currently, is there any acceptable international certification bodies which are certifying sustainable denim?
Maybe Abhishek can take this one.
So there is not one umbrella certification, but there are various certifications depending on which aspect of the product you're talking about. So if it is a material, then there's a organic certification. If it's organic cotton, there's a recycled certification. So if it is made with recycled content, then you'll have that certified. Then BCI is, as you said, is one of those. And recycled polyester also can be certified. Then of course we have chemical certifications. So if it's a blue sign certified chemistry you are using, then you have the blue sign certification, system partner, or the product level certification. And again, there are certifications which are saying the product is water neutral or carbon neutral. So there is no such particular extent which one can go up to in terms of certification. Depending on which areas are more important for a stakeholder, then they choose according to that. And now overall broadly we have Higg Index also. So it is not a certification per se, but it is a program by Sustainable Apparel Coalition where you rate every factory on their environmental performance, on everything, on energy, water, waste, chemicals. So that also will be soon on also communicated transparently, which will cover more broader aspects of a factory environment as such.
Please allow to say something about certification. Blue Sign absolutely is not fancy about certification. We even don't like that they call us a certification company. A certificate is a piece of paper, right? We show now from 2 families actually Blue Sign approved fabric and Blue Sign product. That means these guys have been going through using, as Abhishek said, Blue Sign approved chemistry. It's a Blue Sign system partner on manufacturing level, and they have their own brand, and then they can use the label. For us, it's not important, any label actually. It's only a label which means all the 3 family partners have been climbing the bloody rock Matterhorn. And it's a dangerous mountain, and the work behind. So we are not a certification company, we are a solution provider. Okay?
Just from our side, for the garment finishing, there is not a certification, but there is a tool for the companies to understand what is the level of impact that their washing is doing. That is the EIM software that is widely extended in many brands. That what is doing is to evaluate, depending on the chemicals you are using, the water, the energy, and the workers, what is the impact that this particular style, this particular garment is having. And based on this, there is a ranking, let's say, where it's saying if this style is green, middle impact, or high impact.
Thank you.
There's another gentleman there.
Yes, so as you said that 80% of the garments are ending up in the landfills. So should we, as an industry, think about recycling of fashion apparels, directly fashion garments, which are ending up in the landmines? Like before that itself, recycling that as a brand or as a fabric manufacturer, should we start thinking on recycling of garments?
Yeah, for sure, and a lot of people are doing already starting to look into that. There are issues, obviously. As a brand, you rather make new and sell more than just recycle. But there are examples of companies who are actually taking the garments back, they mend them, and then they resell them. There are people who take old garments and transform it into something new. Those are like probably smaller initiatives. There are larger initiatives where people take old garments in and shred them, and we make new fabric out of that. The issues there sometimes are of a technical nature, because once you start mixing fibers, and then you have metal components, and you have other chemicals applied to the garments, it becomes sometimes a very difficult task, and it becomes more damaging to go through the whole recycling process than it is to, unfortunately, dispose of them. So we really need to, like to our friend's point earlier, we need to really start designing the product from the beginning, thinking about the whole life cycle of the garment, and designing it so that it's easier for that garment to come back into the cycle, and not have to go for new resources. Like we have an initiative trying to build we call a zero cotton platform, where we're trying to reduce our dependence from cotton. And that's not because we don't like the fiber. We absolutely love the fiber, but eventually we will have to use less cotton, because the agriculture resources have to be used to feed people rather than to dress them. So if we start looking at alternative fibers, or even more simply, to recycle the existing fiber, then we can greatly reduce our impact already on the environment just by doing that. So thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, this is great. Thank you very, very much for your participation. I think actually this was a very, very good panel. I think you're all walking away with at least... one more.
I'm sorry.
No. Don't apologize. I'm very happy. Thank you.
I wanted to thank all of you all for starting this incredibly important discussion. And my question is, being a designer, someone who is an individual who wants to start something, maybe a label or a brand, which is completely sustainable, what is your advice for me? You know, and not just in terms of fabric or a certain process, but the entire, like right from the scratch till the end product. Because even our packaging, like, a lot of you all mentioned that the packaging also involves a lot of water and other processes and costs. So,
very good question. Thank you. And I would add one more thing, actually. There is the environmental issue, and we always talk about sustainability in environmental terms. But there's other components that are just as important. There's still a lot of exploitation in our industry. There's the human aspect, there's the laborers, the workers' work conditions. One of the reasons why we want to reduce some of the chemicals that are in the laundries is not only because they are nasty for the environment, but because people who work there will suffer from using them. So it's our duty to do as much as we can to do that. The apparel industry is still one that gives the highest number of jobs, but we have to make sure that people who work in the apparel industry actually get a living wage out of it. That they don't just get the minimum wage, which in many countries, unfortunately, does not even last you 2 weeks. So these are all aspects that we need to really consider. Going back to your point, if you want to start a new brand, a new label, just do your research. And like I said, ask questions. Don't just take people's word for when they say, oh, this product is sustainable. Just ask the right question. Ask where the cotton is coming from, where the other fibers are from, if they have initiatives at the plant to reduce the energy, the amount of water, the amount of chemicals. And then it's your choice. And I won't tell you that it's easy, because there's so many regulations, there's not that many certifications, there's a very murky environment where it's difficult to find the right answers, but you will make mistakes. But eventually, if you're trying to go down the right path and do the right thing, you will definitely do better than if you never asked any questions at all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Shall you go for lunch? Oh, no, one more. Yes.
Cotton is biodegradable, polyester is not. What happens when we blend this? And we do have a lot of cotton poly blends.
We sure do. And we need to start recycling both of them, actually. And we need to start using more recycled polyester, but eventually more biodegradable polyester.
But will we be able to split it after we blend it into
Yes and
fabric?
no. Yes and no. It can be done. It's expensive to do it right now. If you look at Lenzing is not here, but they're doing this new fiber called Refibra, which is basically a lyocell, a tensile fiber that is made recycling the cotton from garments. We recycle pretty much a lot of different fibers. Actually, the cotton polyester is not as difficult to separate as it is cotton from elastane.
Yes,
that's one of the bigger.
Yeah.
The bigger.
And now
things that
elastane
we
is
have.
going to almost all our fabrics.
It's going in a lot of apparel. And again, there are alternatives today. There are elastane that are biodegradable. Eventually, technology will catch up and will allow us to do it. But that's why it's so important that we do it in the design phase. Once we go down a path of adopting a specific fiber, specific fabric, it's impossible to change it afterwards. If we design the garment from the beginning with certain characteristics, then it's a lot easier to do the whole process afterwards. I think some people are starving now, so before you get mad, I will wrap it up. Thank you again very, very much. Thanks to my colleagues, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone. You can please have your lunch at Kalinga too right now. And also, please don't miss the presentation by Ms. Esther at 3 p.m. on the interactive denim LED rock jacket display. And after that, at 3:30, there will be the presentation by Ms. Marte on the future of the garment sourcing and supply chain transparency in digital age. See you all. Thank you.